Well, the fire service in Greece says one of its planes has crashed on the island of Evia. At least 2 people are reported to have been on board. The plane was among at least 3 aircraft and around 100 firefighters battling with the flames on the island. The Greek Prime Minister has warned of tough days ahead. These just the pictures of the moments before the plane actually came down. Well, let me take you from that to these pictures from Rhodes. It gives you just a sense of the intensity of what they're dealing with. More emergency flights to repatriate tourists are expected to land. The largest Greek island, Crete, has also been put on high alert. The Prime Minister said his country and others in the Mediterranean were in the hotspot of climate change and warned it was a crisis that the entire world would have to face. Well, these are the scenes in Italy, where the main airport on the island of Sicily was briefly closed as flames and smoke began to approach the runway. An international panel of scientists has said the current conditions could not possibly have happened without human-caused climate change. Well, let's hear more, first of all, on the programme from Greece's Prime Minister.
The next few days, especially today, tomorrow and Thursday, will be difficult days. After that, I hope the conditions will help us more, and that's why we all obviously remain on high alert. Let me state the obvious, that in the face of what the entire planet is facing, especially the Mediterranean, which is a hotspot for climate change, there is no magic defence. If there was, obviously we would have implemented it.
Well, let's head straight live to Rhodes and live to our reporter Azadeh Mashiri, who's been there throughout the course of the week. And Azadeh, first of all, tell us a little more about any details you know about this plane going down.
So I spoke to the fire service and they have confirmed that a Greek plane did crash on the island of Evia near Platanistos, where there were evacuations earlier today because a fire was spreading. He said this plane was not a Hellenic Fire Corps plane. It was not officially part of the Greek fire service. It was an Air Force plane with 2 Air Force pilots on board. And he said that these 2 pilots have been trained to fight fires. Of course, this just emphasizes what the fire service has always said all along as well, that as they respond to blazes, as they respond to fires, that these people, anyone responding to all of this, is risking their life.
And Azadeh, we were hearing from the Greek Prime Minister talking about what they're actually battling with. Is there any more help that's coming to help them from other parts of Europe?
Yes, Turkey has sent some planes and 1 more helicopter to help on the island of Rhodes, where I am, where you can see there's smoke and fire that's still growing behind me. I am in an area in the town of Gennadion, between Gennadion and Vatias, where all the firefighters are focusing their efforts. And that's because the winds have fanned these flames. Me and my team were actually right there as the flames started approaching us and when we were told to evacuate. That whole area now has been told to evacuate. And this area here you're seeing, where some cars are leaving, there was a very strong police cordon before, and now they're trying to allow locals to go and address their homes, the safety of their crops. We passed by some locals who were trying to water their land because, of course, when this happens to an area you live in, it's particularly devastating. But I really want to emphasize that this is happening on the southern part of Rhodes. We're in the area right now that is the most affected by the fire on the island, and officials are reminding people that this isn't happening across all of Greece. This is happening in certain localized areas. So, of course, that's why some flights are still coming in.
Azadeh, thanks very much. And Azadeh is talking there. We're seeing those live pictures coming from a different part there from Rhodes. You can see right next to me, and you can see just the intensity of the flames, and we've seen that over a number of days, and the Greek Prime Minister just outlining that he thought worse was to come in the next couple of days. Well, let's talk now to Antonis Hatsihalis, who's a student who lives on the eastern side of Rhodes. So welcome to BBC News.
Hello.
I wonder if you can just describe what you've been going through in the last day or so.
Yeah, it's been a terrible situation for everyone here on the island. Just I've been trying to volunteer and help with all the supplies to the firefighters, all the firefighting volunteers that are going to the pit. We made our school here on my village of Hangul, made it as a shelter for all the local people to bring supplies, medical equipment, face masks, shovels, gloves for the fires. So in order to take them into the pit and try to help the firefighters and the volunteers, which are trying to save the forest, houses, and the area that's been affected.
We're seeing the pictures, and we've seen them for a number of days, just the intensity of the fires, and they're moving so rapidly. How frightening is it?
It's so frightening because at the beginning of the fire, we didn't have any support from the local mayor or the regional mayor. There was only the local people trying to have the firefighters, trying to supply the firefighters with food, water, electrolytes, and all the equipment that they were needed in order to ensure that the fire couldn't spread. But the first 3 days, we were completely alone. Where the wind were like around 1.4, with no winds at all, we were alone, and the fire got spread really quick on the next days where we had strong winds.
And has it got any better in terms of the support, the help you're getting from government?
The government have sent firefighters, but in terms of the supply to them with equipment, nothing has changed from my perspective. Like on the school here that we made to a shelter for the evacuated people to come and stay for the night, we didn't have any information on what we needed to do. Actually, the school teachers are on holiday right now. They opened by themselves the school and tried to coordinate everyone, all the local business that they want to help, and they don't know how. We didn't have any official information what to do with the people that have been evacuated. We're trying to figure out everything. And the situation currently is still the same. We're just waiting for an official notice of something, but we believe when we feel that we are alone in this.
And briefly, when your Prime Minister says it is likely to get worse in the next couple of days, how worrying is that?
It's really worrying because the island's been on fire for 8 days now, and it's been like quite a lot of forest, and there's another forest next to where the fire currently is, and if it spreads through that forest, the whole island, the whole forest of the island is going to be burned out. It's completely terrifying for what the impact is going to have on the local economy, the local communities, the wildlife, because here in Rhodes we have a deer that's only producing in Rhodes, the Dama deer, and they've been running to the villages trying to find food and water supply. It's really devastating.
Tanis, well, good luck in the coming days. Thanks very much for taking time to speak to us here on BBC News.